Hello everyone and welcome back to another Combat Patrol unboxing. So as I mentioned in my previous video, the 20 issue review for issue 41 through to 60, I've had a bit of a abscess come up on my face, so I've got a bit of a rather horrible patchy skin, so not feeling up to being on the camera at the moment. So you're going back to me being behind the camera at the moment until it's fully healed, which shouldn't be too long hopefully. But yeah, I've also done some filming before that happened, so there will be some videos coming up soon which have me in front of the camera, so you won't have to worry about me being away from the camera for too long. But today we are here to check out our brand new delivery, which brings us the bulk of the Genestealer Colts. So without further ado, let's get into the unboxing. But before we do, don't forget to of course do all the usual. Like this video if you're enjoying the content, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and of course drop me a comment down below. Are you excited to show your devotion to the four-armed emperor like me, or are you waiting eagerly for your loyalty to the Imperium and the Imperial Guard? Let me know which of the next two combat patrols you're anticipating in the comment section down below, or are you waiting to actually maim, burn and kill with the World Eaters at the end of the collection? Finally then, Combat Patrol Carnage is, as always, proudly sponsored by warbay.shop, your one-stop supply for all your hobby needs. It's come to that time of year again, so if you're looking for that hobby gift for your best friend or family, do check them out. They have a great selection of stuff in stock. Second-hand models available from Warbay Direct, or else they have the complete Games Workshop range from Disc Games. So if there's anything you're wanting to get for people, friends, family, content creators, check out warbay.shop. As usual, there's a link in the video description. Right, without further ado then, let's get into our latest delivery. So we'll adjust the camera and dive right on in. So I've seen two of the issues as usual with this. I've seen Planet of the Dead, and as usual he's 2 issues ahead of the delivery, but we're now 2 issues ahead of him. So let's take a look at what we get. So we have issue 66, which comes with the awesome aberrants, so mutated Genestealer hybrids that are shunned and seen as not the best of things to have around, basically. So awesome tanky units. We have issues 65 and 64, which are parts 1 and 2 of the Neophyte hybrids, which for some reason I thought was a 3-frame kit, but it's only a 2-frame kit. But yeah, nice little kit. You get some awesome equipment, different weapons and war gear we can give the units, and loads of different head options as well. And finally, we get issue 63, the Acolyte hybrids. So these are first generation hybrids and have a bit more of a Genestealer to them than actual humans. Right then, so without further ado, let's bring back in issue 63 and we'll get into it. Zoom in a bit more so we can get up close and personal, and let's take a look at our issue. So we've got our issue, we've got our latest set of data cards. So we've got all of our Genestealer Cult cards there. So we've got the Magus, the Acolyte hybrids, Neophyte hybrids. We actually get 2 units of these, and I believe they're equipped pretty much the same. And we also have the aberrants there, and on the back we've got the Genestealer Cult symbol. We've also got the Rock Grinder, which is part of the basic Combat Patrol. And yeah, we've got for some reason the Eldari cards again, which is very odd. I'll double check against the ones I currently have, but not too sure exactly what to do about this. Maybe it is meant to be the Genestealer Cult ones. And we've got some really cool terrain. So this, I don't think there's anything like it in the Warhammer collection. Could be mistaken, I'll double check. But yeah, that could just be homemade scatter terrain. But same on that side and that side. This is where things get a little bit confusing though, as we have, yeah. So that is on the reverse of that, and that is on the reverse of that. So this is definitely a Warhammer kit. I've got one of them in my collection already, fully built and painted. These I believe come from Necromunda, so might fancy picking these up at some point. And again, using a lot of wire and stuff to help add extra detail. Then we've got 2 more craters, which again, they are misprinted. So I'm guessing somebody flipped the backing for some reason. But we got remains of an Imperial defense line, and we got some leftover Imperial weaponry barricades, a load of auto guns, a bomb, grenades, las rifles, etc. So also some nice little additional pieces. So these count as craters, and these are blockable terrain features. We got Acolyte hybrids here, 532mm bases, and a frame of models. So really cool frame, loads of little details. So we got mining charges, more mining charges. We got the Acolyte icon, we've got the rock grinder chainsaw, we've got the seismic cannon, we've got pinchers, mining tools, the drill. We've got metamorph biomorphs as well, if you want to build these up as the metamorphs. There's extra basing detail in the form of some Cadian heads and Genesius skulls. So pretty cool, add extra detail to your models. And we've got these awesome mining suit-like bodies as well. So pretty cool. Right then, let's take a look at the actual issue quickly. So into issue 63, we got our build guide for the Acolytes and how they go together. So we've got our leader with the whip and bone sword. Improvised weapons, so we've got the buzzsaw here. We've got mining charges, and then we've got 2 metamorphs with claws and pistols and cold blades. Then we've got our painting guide, so base coating time models with Abaddon black. You could probably get away with grey, as we're doing a lot of grey for the mining suit. And we've also got the blue for the arms, red for the cloth areas and the charges, wraithbone for the pale skin, catch and flesh for any leather details, lead belcher for all our silvers, screaming pink for tongues, Corax white on the bone sword, Retributor armor for any gold icons, Avran sunset for any lights and fuel tanks, and then Caliban green on our whip here. Finally, Mephiston red for lenses, sleeves and cables, and Abaddon black for claws and some of the more industrial leathers. Shading, majority of the models are done with Nuln oil, Courier green shade on the trousers and the weapons, Caribou crimson for the flesh, Rycliffe flesh shade on the leather, and gold and yellow details. So that's very odd doing Rycliffe flesh shade on the leather, but it gives a nice effect. Then we're relayering the cloths with Mephiston red, highlighting the blue armor with Calgar blue, Stormhost silver on all our metallics, Nightquester flesh on our brown leathers, Padded Witch flesh on our skin, pink horror on our tongues, Mechanica standard green on our black details, Auric flesh on our whip, Wild Rider red as an edge highlight to our cloth, and Corax white as a highlight to our greeny blue cloth there. And then we have our metamorphs up to this point. A little bit more about the different cult operatives, so all the different ones you can get. The Sanctus, the Locust, Biophagus, and the Reductus Saboteur. We've got a naming chart table for all of our Genius of the Cult characters, our first unit page for the Acolyte hybrids. And then scenario 39, destroying the suppression field, in which we get to try out Acolytes and the Magus up against the Chaos Space Marines with the Hellbrute and a couple of Legionnaires to back him up. So yeah, very fun little mission. We do get to try out some of the unique Genius of the Cult weapons, which is cool. So the one-shot weapons like the mining charges here. And we got our usual victory, blah, blah, blah. And our next 2 issues are double bill. So 64, 65 gives us the Neophyte hybrids. So let's take a look at the first one of those right now with issue 64. So nice, easy issue. We get a single frame which comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 legs, so you can build up half the squad effectively, providing we've got the matching bodies. We do get all of the Neophyte heads, plus some of the third generations, which still have the larger cranium. We get the icon, we get the shotgun or the auto pistol, auto rifle to go with the icon. We get the Weber, we get the grenade launcher, the flamer. We get some of the champions' weapons, the bolt pistol, Weber pistol, and auto pistol there. And we get a selection of shotguns and auto guns. And we even get a guy throwing some stick grenades. Yeah, pretty cool frame, pretty cool kit. Been a while since I've built these guys, so they're going to be quite fun. Right, into the magazine we go. So we got our build guide for the Neophyte Hybrid. So we build our leader. It has the Weber pistol and the pickaxe. I believe each of the units has a different weapon. One has a pickaxe and one has the power maul. I'm not too sure whether the pistols are different or the same. We've got our cult icon bearer. We come with a seismic cannon, the heavy stubber, the Weber, and then everyone else has a neophyte firearm. So it doesn't matter what you build, shotguns or auto guns, but personally I'm going to do one squad with all shotguns, one squad with all auto guns. Our paint guide returns to the Chaos Space Marines and Orcs, so we're relayering Mephiston Red on the cloth before Wild Rider Red highlight. Highlighting Wild Rider Red on the lenses and weapon grips, as well as the Blood Angel helmet on the Terminator, the plume on the Havoc Champion, the candles and book on our Dark Apostle and his cultists. We're then painting the Cadian helmet with Caliban green, the icon of Lead Belcher, Null Oil all over, and Reichel Flesh Shade on the skull. And then we're highlighting that with Auric Flesh and Stormhost Silver and Pallid Witch Flesh on the skull / decayed flesh there. So yeah, pretty cool. Shows us how we're going to be doing Arcadians in a few issues' time. That's our Chaos Space Marines all updated, so we're just waiting for white and yellow now to finish everything off. Moving to the Orcs, so Mephiston Red to pick out the Orc eyes, then Agrax Earthshade. Then we're using Wild Rider Red to edge highlight the Boomdacker wagon and the armor panels on the Orcs. Personally, I'd relayer with Mephiston Red, avoiding the recesses and the rivets if possible, and then do the edge highlight. Then use Wild Rider Red to highlight any plumes and loincloths, as well as the missiles on the Rocket Boy and the big bomb on the Deathcopters. Highlighting all the red cables on the War Boss and the Death Dread, as well as the Squig Mines on the base, and finally a small dot of Wild Rider Red to highlight the eyes. Then on the skin, we're using Wraithbone to pick out the edges of the different armor, different muscular sections. Don't go all the way around, just sort of pick out the highest areas. But yeah, I don't like it. It's too pale. Maybe do it first, then do the shade. Don't know. But yeah, doesn't look too bad on some models. Looks really weird on the Orc War Boss. We've got so many different textures going on here. But all in all, yeah, it finishes off the Orcs quite nicely. Personally, maybe the yellow would have been a better highlight. But there we have it. There's our models all finished. For our reading articles, we've got 2 pages. First off, the latest section of Bonds of Honor and how Sergeant Askerton's story continues. Arsenal of Ascension, so we look at the different weapons of the Genius of the Cults, and we've got a nice spread here, pretty much the entire Genius of the Cult collection. So we've got all the different characters, all the different units, and all the different vehicles as well. The Ridge Runner trucks, the Rock Grinder, the Goliath truck, which is the alternate build for the Rock Grinder, way in the back there. We've got the Jackals there, which we get as our bonus unit. Yeah, all in all pretty cool. Facing off against Deathwatch there, perfect enemies. We've got a list of all the weapons and stuff that you get on the different cultists. Then we got our battle record for the Neophytes. So this is our first of 2 identical units. So basic firearm, heavy stubber, Weber, and seismic cannon. So yeah, power weapons, close combat weapons, the only weapons we get. Seismic cannon, heavy stubber, leader pistol, firearm, auto pistol, and a Weber. Campaign page, a single page. Now we've got the Votan complete. We are seeing their missions turn up. And up against the Eldari this time around. There we go. Right. Let's finish it off with part 2 in issue 65. So we got our frame and all our bases. So we got a variety of different bases here. We got two 32s. These are for the two models that are the 3rd generation hybrids that carry the heavy weapons. And all the rest are on 25mm bases. So we got our remaining sprue here. We got all the different champion weapons, melee weapons. So the power axe, the power maul, or the chain sword. Seismic cannon and the heavy stubber. The mining laser, which is optional heavy weapon as well. A couple more heads, and the remaining neophytes with shotguns or autoguns. Right, into issue 65 we go. So we got our paint guide first of all, and yeah, things are going to be very pale. So we're pretty much painting the entirety of the models with Administratum Grey over the Avalon Black. So Mechanical Standard Grey would probably be more of a better base coat here, and then layer up with Administratum Grey, or maybe even start with Administratum Grey if you don't mind doing multiple thin layers of the layer paint. But yeah, once we got that down, we're doing the cloth with Mephiston Red, lenses Mephiston Red, silvers with Lead Belcher, as well as any small armor plates and grenades, the clasps on the boots, Wraith Bones used to pick out the pale flesh, Screaming Pink for the tongues, Catch Flesh for any levers, Calgar Blue for the bio armor there, Rackar Flesh for any bandages, Corax White for the icon blades, Retributor Armor for any gold icons, as well as the ammos in the autogun there. Avalanche Sunset is used for lights and cables. We've also got gold for icons around different cultists, Mephiston Red for other cables and bandages. That's weird, I got a printing error on my magazine. And we got some exposed grenades there, so pick those out with Mephiston Red for the mining charges. And there's our base coat gallery. So yeah, they're looking very pale at the moment. But there's going to be a lot of work to be done after the shade stage. So the majority of the models are getting a shade of non-oil. So this is over the silver, the blue, the mining suit, and the red areas. Caribou Crimsons on all of the exposed skin. Icon Flesh Shade on the gold, the leather, and the yellow areas. And Coelia Green Shade is used on the green, growths on the icon here, as well as the rest of the mining suit. And Agrax Earth Shade for use on any areas of Rackar Flesh. It might be a good idea to sort of do a second coat with the Coelia Green Shade. It might make the cloth a little darker and match more to the box art. But after that, we're doing a relayer of Mephiston Red on the red cloth. Highlight Calgar Blue on the blue chitin. Stormhost Silver on all the gold and silver details. Night Quester Flesh on all of our leather work. Powdered Witch Flesh on our skin and any Rackar Flesh bandages. Pink Horror highlights the tongues. Mechanical Standard Grey highlights any black levers, as well as any ribbed cables. Wild Rider Red is used to highlight all of our red details, so the cables, the end of the weather gun, mining charges, and of course the cloth. Corax White is used to highlight the mining suit, including the armor, and the natural growths there on the icon as well. And then we have our work in progress. So we've still got a few more colours. We've got Uriel Yellow to add, and we've also got White Scar, which might be used later on. Yeah, I don't think I'll be taking these guys all the way. I'll probably end up just at the wash stage like I normally do. But I'm definitely thinking the second layer of Coelia Green Shade on the cloth there. Moving on to the rest of the details in the magazine. So we got Warzone Calnath, our latest Warzone article. looking at the biggest war zones in the current 40k lore. So this is the tower controlled area. So we've got the mining fleet, we've got orbital cities and fortress stations. So yeah, as this is a particular area of space locked off from the Imperium, Imperial forces are kind of beleaguered and cut off from reinforcements, so there's a lot of Xenos factions taking major control here, notably the Tau, who are expanding, and there's also the Orcs and the rising Genocide cults. As for the rest of the magazine, we got pages for the campaign, more for the Leagues of Votan against Chaos Space Marines and against Orcs, and then we got Scenario 40 where we have to try out the Cult Ambush rule. And we've got a few errors here, so it shows 4 identical terrain pieces, but if we look at this in process, we got the barrels, the crates, the defense line barrels there, and something else that's kind of off screen, can't really tell. So yeah, just sort of make up and add the terrain cards that you think would best suit. Yeah, there we have it. So we get to try out Cult Ambush, and it's up against the Orcs. Then we got to look at our next issues, so our Aberrants. And the next 2 issues after that is our second unit of Neophyte Hybrids. On to our final issue then, issue 66. So, into it we go. So we have 5 32mm bases for our Aberrants. So these guys are hulking, mutated Genocide cultists. So sort of a early generation hybrid that has sort of mutated more to the Genocide rather than the human. So instead of trying to get the perfect blend of both, these guys have gone more monster, and they're kind of mindless and are deemed imperfect. More often than not, they're kept as shock troops. Sometimes they're even put down. One, I believe, was used as a pet in the Angels of Death short series on Warhammer Plus. But yeah. Pretty cool models and a nice unit to add to our combat patrol. Right, then into the issue, there's a little bit more of a resistance to this one. Didn't peel apart as well as the others have, but mostly it's towards the back of the magazine anyway. So we got Aberrant Hypermorph, which is the unit champion, so you've got the extra long tail, and we can either build him with the improvised heavy weapon here, or you can choose either the 3 arms and the pickaxe, or the 3 arms with the heavy hammer. But we're going to go with this guy. I believe these are more your basic unit sort of fillers if you want to do a unit of 10 of them. Yeah, no effect on how the model's used in game, so yeah, build it however you really want to. Then after that, we build each of the other models pretty much straightforward. 2 halves of body, head, weapons in certain cases. So you can either have pickaxes or the heavy mining tools, and then we've got a rending claw on the other arm there. So yeah, up to you however you want to build these guys, but really there's not a lot of difference in it. But at the end of it, we'll have 4 units, 4 guys plus our champion there, and we can either have them the pickaxes or the heavy mining tools there. Alright, onto the paint guide for these guys. So we're base coating these in Wraithbone this time, not Abaddon Black. And picking out Administratum Grey on the mining cloth, Macragge Blue on the Tyrannid chitin, Mephiston Red on the cloth and weapon grips, Avalon Sunset on the hazard sign, Abaddon Black for levers, weapon grips and the mining armour, as well as the details on the sign here, and don't forget the claws. Lead belchers used for chains and the weapon heads, and Mechanical Center Grey for the piece of rock at the end of the sign pulled out of the ground. Gold is used on cult icons, Scream of Pink on the tentacle mouth here, Northern oils shaded over the blue, the silver, the red, this grey, and any bone areas. Then Caribou Crimsons shaded all over the flesh, Kuida Green shade over the trousers, and Reichland Flesh shade over the remaining yellow and gold details. Relayer Mephiston Red before highlighting Wild Rider Red on any loincloths. Highlight Calgar Blue on the chiton. Highlight Stormhost Silver on all of our silver, metallic, and gold details. Then Mechanicus Colour Grey on the black armoured sections and details on the sign here. Corax White on the fatigues. Catch and Flesh base coating in the mouths and the eyes before highlighting with Wraithbone on the teeth and Avalanche Sunset on the eyes. Then Reichland Flesh shade on both of these areas. Then Abaddon Black for pupils and Powdered Witch Flesh to highlight the teeth. Then final highlights, so Powdered Witch Flesh on the skulls, Pink Horror on the tentacle mouth, and Dry Brush of Adaminish Sharpened Grey on the lump of rock at the end here. And we've also got to do all the highlighting of the skin with Powdered Witch Flesh, which, did it mention or did it skip over that? Yeah, highlight the skin with thin lines on the uppermost parts, do the same to the skull. So yeah, skin and skulls picked out with Powdered Witch Flesh. Pink Horror on the tentacle mouth, and then Adminish Sharpened Grey on the rock there, and that's our unit done so far. It says work in progress, but I don't think there's much left to actually finish on these guys. Plus, I think you could probably skip the adding of the pupils. These guys will be more bestial looking with just the eyes painted yellow. I think really cool. Then we're looking at Insidious Infiltrators. So these are the Genius Occultists who work their way up through the Astra Militarum and eventually take control and command of a lot of the Astra Militarum resources. So you've got the Brood Brothers here, so we've got Cult Icons, Champions. You've got Lehman Russ here, taken over by the Cult. You see a Genius Occultist line defending against the oncoming World Eaters. Then we've got to look at artillery vehicles. So we've got the Hydra and Manticore missile launcher tanks, the Astra Militarum, the bombardment launchers of the Plague Birds Crawler and the Death Guard there. You've got the Orc grot guns, such as the tractor cannon here, or the bubble chucker. Then we got the artillery teams of the Astra Militarum, so field ordnance batteries here, or the Krieg heavy gun emplacements there. Got a battle record for the Aberrants, so heavy improvised weapon, heavy power weapon, or hypermorph tail. So yeah, heavy improvised weapons champion, so 5 attacks, hits on a 3, strength 6, no AP but 2 damage. The power weapons, 3 attacks, hits on a 3, strength 8, -2 with 3 damage, and the tail gives an additional attack, hits on a 3, strength 5, and no AP and 1 damage. Arise, my children, and cast down those who have tormented you. And finally, we get to try these guys out in a scenario. Scenario 41, pick them clean. So our Librarian and Captain are facing off against the Metamorphs in one deployment zone and the Hybrids plus the Magus in the other. So hopefully we'll be able to get to try out all the abilities, such as Spiritual Leader, which gives a 5+ feeling of pain against psychic attacks on the Librarian. And then we got scenario objectives and make use of Wrath of the Emperor here and Will of the Patriarch. So we're actually utilising some of the bonus secondary objectives here as well. Victory Speech, and our next 2 issues are going to be our next unit of hybrids. And after that, I believe it's the Rock Grinder. So that should be hopefully before Christmas. Right then, I'll bring everything in and give you my final thoughts on this latest delivery. So there we have it. That's our latest delivery. I think we're on what, delivery 16, 17 now? I really have kind of lost count. But yeah, we're getting there now. We're coming to the end of the collection. Should be 21 deliveries overall. So yeah, I think we're like 16 or 17. And yeah, this delivery, it has been a nice one, jam-packed full of Genius Leader models, and I really do like the Genius Occults. Paint guides are a little to be desired. They could definitely do with an extra layer of the Quelea green shade to get the green on the mining fatigues correct. Other than that, though, a really good job utilising the limited paints we have in the collection. So, yeah, plastic-wise then, we got a great amount. 3 units of really cool models. So, yeah, 5 out of 5 for that. Gaming equipment, we got some new terrain cards, and we've got a battle record cards for all of our Genius Occult models. So, yeah. Other than that, there's not a lot really to say for that, so I will give it a 5 out of 5 just because it's the only other things we've really got in this delivery. Content for the magazine, though, looks really good. Paint guides are nice and in-depth. The lore sections, not that many, but the ones we do have are really cool. A nice look at some of the different sub-sections within the Genius Occults. Some of the battle zones, again, really nicely covered. And the missions are quite fun as well, and some more campaign pages for the campaign, which I'm going to save till we finish the collection. So I'll give you a 5 out of 5 for that. So we got our full 5 out of 5 for the full delivery. Next delivery, like I said, will be the second unit of Neophyte Hybrids plus our Goliath Rock Grinder truck. So that's going to be an interesting one. Should be here just before Christmas. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Then after that, we're hitting the Guard, which should be January. And then hopefully we should be finishing this all off by April, May next year. But there we have it. That is our latest delivery, solid delivery. Nice offering to the 4-armed Emperor there. And I'm looking forward to getting all of this built and painted. And yeah, definitely going to try out some of the different, some of my suggested ways of improving the colour scheme, especially when it comes to the fatigues there. And yeah, I definitely don't think I'm going to be doing too much highlighting with Wraithbone on the Orcs models, but we'll do some when it comes to that issue. Right then, all that's left me to do is to say I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time for more Combat Patrol Carnage. Goodbye.